Like I promised, I want to run a video on letter writing. Specifically, the video will be on formal letter writing. If you remember a post I made a few days back about a particular girl that was asked right in my presence to write an application letter, and considering the embarrassment I saw written on this girl's face, I decided that I would be talking about letter writing today. Okay, take note that this video might be a little long, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. Now, when you talk about letters, some teachers who teach us, or some teachers who taught us about letter writing during the time that we were in secondary school, made it appear as if letter writing is something so serious. They made it appear as if letter writing is something that you have to maybe travel to the moon to acquire the knowledge, that it is something that you have to attain a particular height in academics before you are able to write it. And you will see this manifest in the way people would run to different persons to ask them to help them write letters. These are people that you are sure that any other thing that they can do it, that they are good at writing. But the moment you talk about writing a formal letter, they will start running helter-skelter looking for who to help them write such letters. Now, I want to place a correction here. Letter writing, especially the formal letter writing, is nothing serious. Quote me anywhere. It is nothing serious. It is nothing that anybody should be scared of writing. All we need is to understand what we mean when we say that something is formal and when you say that something is informal. That is all. Now, let us take it this way. Let's talk about informal. Of course, we know we have the informal letters and the formal letters. And whenever you come across formal letters, people get scared. When you say that something is informal, what does it mean? Forget about the definition. Now, let me illustrate. In your house, maybe as a child, maybe as a student, whoever, are there times that you go home and you meet maybe your mother eating or your father eating, and you just go straight to where that person is and collect the spoon without saying excuse? You just collect the spoon, eat, drop the spoon, and leave. Are there times you do something like that? The answer is yes, as long as the person that you are interacting with is your parent. Now, there are times that you go to your friend, maybe you visit your friend's house, and that your friend might be, let me say, might be putting on a hat or a cap, and you just go and freely remove it and say whatever you want to say to that your friend, and yet nothing happens, right? What that simply means is that you are having an informal relationship with that person. Now, whenever you talk about the word informal, informal means that this particular setting does not have restrictions. Just feel free. It does not have any limitations. You are not bound by any serious rules. The same way that in your house, you are not bound by rules in the way you relate with your parents. As long as you don't insult them, you can say whatever you want to say. You feel free to do whatever you want to do. You feel free to stay whichever way you want to stay, to sit whichever way you want to sit, because that atmosphere is informal. In your sitting room, if you remember at times that a teacher will tell you, sit properly, you are not in your father's sitting room. What does that mean? In your father's sitting room, it's an informal atmosphere. It's an informal environment. You can sit whichever way you like. You can raise your leg and place it on the ceiling. You can sit and you have your head on the television. You are just free. There are no rules binding you. This is what you mean by saying that something is informal. Now, when you say that something is formal, it means that here you have to observe some strictness. When you talk about something being formal, you have to observe some rules. You don't behave whichever way you like in this particular atmosphere. That is what it means. Same way, you cannot, that way you acted towards your father or your mother, where you enter, you find them eating. You cannot go into the office of a bank manager, maybe to ask to be taken as a worker there. You cannot just enter there and you find the bank manager eating and you go to collect the spoon. Is that possible? No. When you enter there, you don't need anybody to tell you that you have to comport yourself, that this is a formal setting. You speak in a way that depicts that you are mannered. You are there, you mind the way you speak, you mind the way you walk, you mind the things you do, you mind even the way you stand and the way you sit. Now, when you get there, you are held, you are bound by rules, and you are conversant of the rules of this environment. That is what you mean when you say that something is formal. In the same way, Whenever you talk about an informal letter is just that kind of a letter that you write to such kind of a person that you hold an informal relationship with. That kind of a person that you are free with. That is just informal letter. Say whichever way, if you know the way you act towards this person, if you know how free you are when you are with this person physically, be that free when you write to them. Say whatever you want to say. Use any words you want to use. Use any slang. You know the way the both of you relate when you talk. Just feel free that way. Now, I know at times when I chat a friend of mine, this is a guy that is popular. I am talking about a Somnofo online mass. This is somebody that every other person respects. You need to see the way people talk about him when they get there. But because of the fact that this is my friend, when I talk, I do not have any rules binding me. I do not have any rules restricting me from the way I speak to him. I can just chat him and call him by any name that I wish. This is to tell you that there is an informal relationship. Now, a kind of letter that you write to a person like this is an informal letter because you are not held by any rules. Now, when you talk about something formal, the formal letter, here you write, having it in mind that you are writing to somebody that you cannot just say anything to. The same way that you are held, the same way that you are conscious of rules governing you in a formal setting, that is how you should know that there are rules governing you when you write a formal letter. You don't just say things the way they come to your mind. You are conscious of your words. That is just it. Now, this is not supposed to be a problem because even those people who are scared of writing these letters, there are situations you find yourself in offices and you interact with the occupants of these offices without any problem. If you know the same way that you comport yourself when you speak to them, you don't call people to come to do the talking for you. You talk by yourself. Just that your body will tell you that this is a place where you observe rules, you observe decency. That is the same way that when you write letters, just feel free, but be selective of the kind of words you use when you refer to these people. That is just what this adjective formal talks about. It shouldn't appear as if there is a level in education that you will get to before you understand how it is written. There is no special way that it is written. It is still the same communication that you do, just that you have to be careful about your words. That is all. Now, the formal letters, some persons will refer to it as an official letter. That is a letter that you write for official purposes, for official reasons. The kind of letter you write to people like principals, to people like, let me say, when you're asked to write a letter to the governor, take note, if you are writing a letter to the governor for an official reason, it becomes a formal letter. But if the governor is your friend and you are writing this letter to him as your friend, it is not a formal letter. Let me take for instance that a friend of mine becomes a governor and I want to write to him, not for any official reason, not for a document, not for any official matter. I am writing based on something that holds that we have in common as friends. It is a formal letter, irrespective of his office. Another thing that you should note in an official letter, in a formal letter, is that you are not writing it to a person. A formal letter is not written to anybody particularly. A formal letter is written to an office. That is to say that whoever is in that office as at the time that this letter arrived does not have that letter. That letter belongs to that office. That is why you may write a letter to the principal of a school, or to the vice chancellor of a university, or to the governor of a state. And after some time, this person leaves. You find out that after this person leaves, the person does not go with that letter. What happens? The person leaves that letter there for the next person to come in to handle, meaning that this letter does not belong to him. This letter belongs to that office. That is why it is a formal letter. It is an official letter. This is what you have in mind when writing a formal letter. You are not writing it to that person. You are writing it to the office. Okay, now, what are the components of this letter? What are the things that you observe when you write a formal letter? First, you will be told about addresses. This is to serve as our paper. If this is the paper on which you are writing that letter, now here is your address. What is the essence of this address? This is to tell the person that this is how to contact you if there is need to. This is my address. It is as simple as that. There are no serious rules. You are just indicating how the person can contact you. Now, the address will come on this side. That is your own address. Let me say that we're writing a letter of employment because of the fact that this is as a result, that this institution is as a result of a class. It's as a result of having promised to treat letter writing. Now take note of this. When we are to write this, to write the address, let us say that my address is Note that in writing, I am just taking it this way because this is a demo class. Now, when writing, you do not write anything in short. Everything should be complete. This is supposed to be St. Joseph's Seminary School. Now, in writing it, you use your own address. Now, there is nothing serious about this. This address is just to tell the person reading your letter that this is how to contact you, that this is where to find you. Now, you have St. Joseph's Seminary School. This school you're talking about, where is it? In a case where you have made use of your home address, where is that your house? Where is that place located? That is the next thing that will come here. Now, you have a comma here. Now, under it, what should be the next? Let me say we have something like this. This is a town because this school is located inside this town. Now, after this, some persons will ask, what about the P.O. box? It is not a must. Now, P.O. box was used at times, at the period when a person trying to reply your letter would have to send that letter through the post office. In our times, it is not everything that goes through post offices these days. So it is not a must to add that. All you need, if you do not have a P.O. box address, there is no need for that. You don't need to bother yourself. Now, I can just have St. Joseph Seminary School, OKTT, and right here, I'll have Anambra State. You don't listen to anybody telling you that there are strict ways of writing this, that there is something that you would not add and the letter becomes a problem. No, all you need, as long as what you have here communicates to the person listening to you that this is how to get you, you are there. Now, St. Joseph Seminary School, OKTT, Anambra State, that is all. The next thing you need is the date. When did you write this letter? These are the things that are important. Let us say today's date is 29th, am I right? Another thing is that you observe that the TH here are on the same line with the 29. You have 29th October 2021. There is a comma after the month and a full stop after the 2021. Everything about this is done. The next thing, if you remember that you were told that the formal letter is not written to a person, it is written to an office. Now, the address of the person, that is that office that is to receive your letter, is what comes here. Maybe I am writing this letter to the governor of Anambra State. I would not mention his name because I am not writing to him personally. I am not writing this letter particularly to the person occupying that office. I am writing this letter to that office. For that reason, what do we have here? The governor, or somebody can say the executive governor, comma, Anambra State, full stop. It ends here. Now, this is the office you are writing it to. Take note that the executive governor this is not anybody's name. When you write a letter to a governor, it is possible that whoever occupies this office as the governor would leave anytime. Therefore, this letter does not belong to him. He leaves the office, leaving this letter there. And the next person to come in would handle this letter. Now, this is done. The next thing, forget about the person telling you that there will be a gap here. It is not needed. Immediately after this, the next thing that you see is dear sir. And then, why are you writing? The same way you have it in your mind, what is it you want to tell this person? Maybe I want to talk about if this is what I want from the governor, then it should be this way. The same way, whatever it is that you have in your mind to talk to the governor about, that is what you should have here. in a situation where the person is writing this letter as an application letter, what you should just have here is letter of application or application for the post of whatever it is that you're going for. Now, whatever you write here does not have a rule. It's just the way you have it in your mind. And it just appears this way. Put down, what is it you want from this person? In this situation, there is no need for pleasantries. There is no need for exchange of greetings. Go straight to the point. What is it you want? I write to request for the closure of schools in Anambra State. Full stop. State the reason why it has to be so. The same way you have it in your mind. If you know that way, you will tell this to the person if you had been with that person physically. That is just how you state it. Mind you, you state it being careful of your choice of words. Having in mind that this is a formal letter, you are writing it to an office. That is all. State whatever it is that you want to tell that person about, depending on the length of it. There are no needs for greetings. There are no need for things that are frivolous, for things that are not necessary. Go straight to the point, tell the person why you are there, and close it. Now, when you close it, you just have yours faithfully, your signature is here, your name, and your phone number. Let us say that signature appears here, and your name with your surname, and then your phone number here. That is all. So, when a person asks a question about how letters are written, this is just it. There are no rules. All you need to have in mind is, what is it you want to tell this person? And that is what you put down on that paper. Remember, if you still have other questions that you want to ask, feel free to come into this comment section and drop your questions, and I promise you that those questions will be attended to. Thank you so much.